Hi everybody, it's about 5 o'clock on a Friday night and I've been home all day just relaxing and working on music and baking cookies and things, but here I am now and I'm going to make that recipe with the mushrooms and onions and grapes in it. It's inspired by some cooking that we tasted when we were in Greece this summer by a chef who has her own kitchen in Mani. And Mani, if you know, is a very wild place in Greece. It's very rustic, quite rough still. The roads are only about 40 or so years old. So before that, no roads, only donkeys. And the way that this woman cooks is by harvesting things and foraging things from the land locally. So she's an expert in putting together beautifully flavored dishes that use the freshest things from the region. And there were grapes in almost everything that she cooked for us. So I went looking and I found this recipe, which kind of excited me, especially the king oyster mushrooms and the enoki mushrooms. And these are the beautiful giant king oyster mushrooms. So I'm gonna get started with just chopping these 4 green onions. So I'm going to just chop up finely the green parts, and these will be ready to put into the mixture. I'll be heating the pan up with a little bit of oil, and I'm going to then prepare the oyster mushrooms by slicing them quite thickly and then scoring them with a knife before they get put into the pan. This allows a bit of flavor to seep into the mushroom itself. I'm just gonna slice all the grapes in half also here as another part of the prep. I'm back with my little paring knife because this is what I'm going to score the mushrooms with. And as per the picture in the recipe, I'm going to do my best to sort of duplicate the crisscross or hatching that they had done on their mushrooms. It just looked so pretty to me, so I'm going to try it. And scoring just means lightly grazing over the surface. You don't want to cut all the way through. So I've got the little X's on there on both sides. Just look at these enoki mushrooms. Aren't they beautiful? What's gonna happen next is the oil gets heated in the pan first in a medium-high heat, and you have to be careful not to singe your oil. So just watch that, and when it's shimmering a little bit, that's the time to throw your mushrooms in. Then the mushrooms go in, and the key element of the directions for this recipe say very clearly, do not stir the mushrooms for the first 5 minutes. So I think that is an effort to, again, sear in some of the flavor, the deep woody flavor of the mushrooms, and then you flip them over and I think let them sit for another little bit, and then you may begin to stir them. It's my first time using the stainless skillet that I earned as a Pampered Chef consultant. I'm still pretty excited. So I'm going to christen it with olive oil. How apropos. It's already heating up quite a bit. I've got it on a medium heat. I may just have a few too many mushrooms here for the size of this pan, so I'm going to drop in the biggest pieces and just lay them flat in the bottom here and see how many I get to before the pan is filled. Because I want them all to be touching the surface and be able to get that wonderful flavor going. There we go. The big ones are in there. I'm saving the small ones for now. And also it did say to reserve the white ends of the onions, and they go in as soon as the mushrooms are pretty much cooking well on their way. There's a minute left with these mushrooms that are still cooking on their first side, and then I'm going to flip them over and brown them a bit. Time to flip these over. Let's have a look. Oh, a nice golden color. Ooh, beautiful golden brown. Season generously with salt. I'm just gonna sprinkle a pinch around in here. So there's the first batch done. They're holding up really well. I'm putting them in a little bowl over here. And I'm gonna put round 2 in the pan now. The second batch is looking fabulous in the pan. I'm now going to add the smaller gnocchi mushrooms. Just toss them in around over here. And after they've had a chance to simmer in this for about 2 minutes, I'm going to add the white part of those onions. I feel like such a gourmet. I can't recall that I've ever cooked like this before. I love it. Look at the little baby. Here go the onions. The next step calls for sherry and white wine vinegar. I don't have any sherry, so I'm gonna just throw some red wine in. 1 tablespoon of red wine and half a tablespoon of white cooking wine going in. What a magnificent color too. As soon as it looks like it's picked up all the moisture and caramelized a little bit, we're going to drop the onions and the grapes in and then add a dollop of cream cheese. I think that's the secret ingredient, to be honest. It's turned out really wonderfully looking. And it smells incredible. You have to try this.